Here with more, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. You know, I'm watching the attacks come in, and they say this is the Trump plan. I've asked you this question before. The Trump plan, correct me if I'm wrong, was predicated first and foremost on obliterating the Taliban. Donald Trump said to the head of the Taliban, if we get an agreement and you don't abide by it, I'll let you finish the conversation.
Sean, it's good to be with you. We certainly said that, and then we executed it when the Taliban behaved in ways that were inconsistent with protecting America, our interests in Afghanistan or elsewhere. We crushed them. We used American power to make sure that our model of deterrence would work. We had a real plan on how to get our troops down to the lowest levels possible. We knew that there were a certain set of conditions that had to be met. We were working diligently to achieve them. We went from 15,000 to about 2,800, and we kept order. We didn't have a single American attacked from February of 2020 on. That was not because of a piece of paper or an agreement, but because they feared our administration.
I've known you for many, many years. I've known Donald Trump well over 25 years. I can say unequivocally, I don't see any scenario that you would ever abandon Americans behind enemy lines. Would that have ever happened with Donald Trump as president and you as Secretary of State?
No, sir. It's unimaginable, Sean, that we would have permitted this to happen. We were serious about protecting Americans, not only our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, but our diplomats, our intelligence officers, and all the other Americans who were there as well. We made real commitments to them. We said, this is how we're going to do this in an orderly way. We proceeded across that plan. They came in and ripped it up. President Biden set a political deadline, an arbitrary deadline. And he did so with his military leaders having told him, if you go below 2,500 or 2,700, that a calamity will ensue. He made that choice. It was deeply political. And now America is paying the price for this.
And Donald Trump would have kept Bagram Air Base. Donald Trump told me when I interviewed him that he would, in fact, would have kept 2,500 troops on the ground, as the generals now clearly recommended, and Joe Biden lied to George Stephanopoulos, but he also lied saying he wouldn't abandon Americans. Do you see any scenario that is relatively safe where we can get our people home safely? Because Joe Biden says we have all the leverage. I don't see it.
Yeah, Sean, we gave up all our leverage. When we ran out, when we abandoned it, when we created this debacle, we not only gave up our leverage, but 13 American lives as well. There are lots of Americans who are working to help get their fellow comrades home from behind enemy lines. I hear from folks nearly every day. I'm trying to help as I can as well. We are fighting our own government. We are working to try and work around and get assistance from our government. We shouldn't have to be fighting them in the way we are. I don't see this administration beginning to change that policy. I think they want to write this off and just turn the page. That the American people aren't going to let that happen. We'll all remember.
Well, he used that exact phrase at the UN. He has not mentioned the people that he abandoned in Afghanistan or the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan in 30 days. Hasn't talked about them one time. Tony Blinken now, this is recently, there are American groups, I don't know who they are, but I understand that we have retired special ops forces, retired Navy SEALs, and generous Americans that have chartered airplanes and that are working diligently to get Americans home. I want every American home. I want every green card holder home. I want their families home, our allies that we promised to get the hell out of there. Here's my question. Tony Blinken, you had his job, is now saying that you can't take the charter plane, even if it has Americans on it. You can't land in the U.S., and if you do get a third-party country to accept your charter and they need our approval, it will not be forthcoming. Now, can you give me any rational explanation for that policy? Because that makes zero sense to me.
No, Sean, it makes no sense. That's what I was referencing earlier. We have our own government opposing private citizens who are trying to help Americans get home. This is crazy. There's no rationale for this. If we've got a plane and we've got a flight and we've got people who are willing to take their own lives in their hands to help to take that risk to get their friends and their comrades and their fellow Americans home, the State Department, the Department of Homeland Security, CBP, should be encouraging that. President Biden should be calling them and thanking them, not telling them you can't land an aircraft or you can't bring a plane to a third country. There are lots of countries who are prepared to assist us, help us get these folks first to their country and then ultimately onward to their final destination. And our government's opposing that today. It is unexplainable to me, Sean.
Mr. Secretary, I say this as a friend of yours for a lot of years. It's great to hear from an adult on an important national security topic, because it wouldn't have happened on your watch. Thank you for being with us.